Hello and welcome. Thanks for stopping in. I want to unwrap this pocket Lenormand that I found on Amazon and I could not resist. It had colorful, simple images. So I wanted it for my grand tableau, which you see is in the background here. And there you go. This is how I lay mine out. And I have these 4 at the bottom here. And I do it week by week, generally after I've pulled the theme cards, the center, the 4 corners. And I usually leave this section here to the end as a surprise. So that's like information for me from the ancestors and that. So let's zoom in, unpack the cards, lay them out here. And I just wanted to say that when I did this pulling, this was done at the 1st of August for this grand tableau. And it comes from the Lenormand of Enchantment. That's the book, a hefty book. This is the deck, and I did a review of this. But what I'm doing differently this month is I lay the cards out at the 1st of the month. I let them sit because now I want to go back. It's the end of August, and I want to see if any of this information rings true. So instead of looking forward like I normally do, I'm going to be looking back into August to see what things that I did or situations that came up are relevant to this reading. So that should be fun, interesting. But for now, let's check out the pocket Lenormand. Now, we're going to zoom in and begin. Now, I also brought this so that you could see a comparison for size. So this says pocket Lenormand, but it's actually probably going to be very close to the size of the enchantment. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit smaller, but it drew me in because of the colors and that the backgrounds were not cluttered. So there we go, simple daily divination, a perfectly sized divination deck, and it does have diversity within the deck, and it is put out by Red Wheel. So it looks to me like you push it like a little matchstick box. That's pretty good. You know, it's hard. It'll last. Simply Daily Divination. So that's our cover card. Bring it down a bit. First published in 2025. Okay. And you can see it's some nicer rounded corners than the Lenormand Enchanted. I'm liking that because these are more like playing cards, not that nice round that card has. And then we have, ooh, this is nice. So I would say instead of a book, we're getting keywords. Pretty darn good. So there are 36. So this one carries over onto the back, as does this one. And they're easy to see and read. I better make sure I'm keeping this in the viewer. So there's no spread here offered. But this fits nicely in the hand. And this is what I was talking about, the simplicity. So I have some Lenormand cards that have an awful lot going on in the background. I think, though, I would prefer, we're looking at this now, that this word be down here and the number be up there. But when there's so much going on in the background, you tend not to focus on the main ingredient being the cross. And it looks kind of pagan, made out of sticks and things like that. So I'm enjoying that already. These are the backs. Feels kind of nice, simple. And there is our rider. So the idea for me today was to go through the cards with you and then lay them out in this as we go along. So at the end you can see, they won't be shuffled, but you'll be able to see how it looks in a grand tableau. And I'll just, as I say, put them out as we go. So we're going to be going, pause for a moment so I can get them start to finish versus finish to start. Okay, they are now in order for me. And this is what I was talking about, the simpleness, the clarity. There's your rider. And it's nice to see looks like a female rider for a change. Okay, put this down here, move this up into the top, over there. Okay, clover. Can't get much more simple than that, or simpler than that. They slide quite easily on my plexiglass here. There is our ship. I think I'll assemble them after, but that, it's just so simple. Your house. Tree. Now this is a little bit different in that usually the cloud has a dark side and a light side. So our dark side appears to be on the bottom of these clouds. So I'd be looking at what's below it. Our snake. They have a nice sound to them. Coffin. But I would say they're more cardboardy, but they do have some firmness to them. So there's our bouquet. Scythe. Whip. Birds. Usually there's 2 or 3. This is like a whole flock. So that's interesting. Child. This is where you get to pick. This one is more like an infant. This one's definitely a child, a little bit older. Fox. Our bear. Good looking bear, strong, not fierce. Stars. Stork. Some people like to see it in flight. Dog. I wonder if you get a couple dogs. No, you get a cat or a dog. Tower. Yeah, there's a thickness to them. Garden. It reminds me in the Pentacles in Tarot that you have the gate. And do you walk through it? Do you enter into a new experience or not? But the garden in Lenormand is more social. Gatherings, meetings, things in public. Mountain. Crossroads. Mice. And you can always look for where the tail is pointing. Heart. This looks like a tree here. And the core. Ring. Book. It's open, not closed. Letter. Looks official with the seal. Now we have 2 men. Interesting. One who's visually impaired, but still moving. And we have 2 women. And there's our lily, and it's a dark lily. That's a first for me in my decks. Kind of like that. Sun. Moon. So Same window. Other than this little piece right here. I love the colors in the moon, and there is a pathway. You can find your way. But with this bar coming through, it's almost like having to make a decision. One is a little bit more lit and visible than the other. Neat. The key, the fish, the anchor, and the cross. Little bit of a smudge there on the card from the ink. Okay, so let me span back out, wrong way, and we'll get these laid in position. Okay, I've started laying some of them out, but I should show you the little birdies carry over on the inside of the box. And nice and sturdy. Don't mind that at all. Now, I don't know who the artist or anything is just yet, but let's see if I can get these down. So I go 8 across, 4 down, and then the extras at the base. And this is a sheet of plexiglass. I've got 2 here. So I put the cards underneath on the first one, which has names of each of the houses. And cards are there on top, and then the sheet of plexiglass holds it in place. Because I don't always read right away, and I don't want a window being open to disrupt the cards. So this is where you can choose whichever child you want. Dog or cat. I'm more of a dog person, so I'll put the dog. Okay, so now I'm going to tilt it a little bit so that you can see down here. Yeah, my top plexi is not quite as big as my bottom plexi. It doesn't sound so good, does it? So we're going to scooch this up, and these will go here. But in a real reading, we'd be shuffling these. But it just gives you an idea that, okay, I'm looking for the tower. There it is. I'm looking for the heart. Okay, there. So there's key things that you can look for in a reading. And I usually, as I say, do the first 3 cards. That's the theme. And then I might go to the 4 corners. And then I'll look at the heart of the matter, the center. And that's quite neat. Enjoying that. And yeah, the plexiglass is not expensive. You could do it with real glass, but it'd be heavier. And I sometimes move mine around through the house depending where I want to work. So I'm going to shuffle these and just do the centered. Well, maybe I'll do even that. I just want to have fun. Hang on. Okay, so normally I would have laid all the cards out, but I decided to leave the whole deck complete and just do the key areas for me. So as I say, the top left would be the theme for the month. Plenty of answers are being delivered. Ooh, now everybody reads different. Gotta allow for that, okay? And then I might look at the 4 corners. So we've got the fish over that. That can be money as well. And there's a man involved. Maybe it's a rich man, or because he's facing the future, there's a man to, whether it's an acquaintance or deal business with, possibly in the future. That's going there. What do we got down here? A woman. Ooh, notice how they have their backs. They're not really talking. So there might be a bit of a disagreement going on. Plenty of disagreements, or disagreements over money. Ooh. So that goes there. And in this one, this is usually one of those outcome type situations down here. A letter, a very important letter or document or information. Okay, as I say, then I look at the hub, the center. And I do it with the 6 cards because I've got 2 above and 2 below. So, information that might cause a bit of an obstacle or struggle. And because the book is open, there could be revelations to that. Interesting that the rider for me is sometimes news within a day or two, and it's right below the book. You've got the moon here below the mountain. Let your mind wander. And scythe and child, something quick. Maybe there's an accident. Maybe he falls off his skateboard. And then, after I had read all the cards, I would come down to, I'll shove this up a bit. This is like messages, I say, from my ancestors when I read it. As I say, I left all the cards in. So there might be conversations that are new. There might be conversations around a child. Ooh, and they could be nervous conversations. That sometimes happens with the birds. And you're followed by the whip. And you've got the coffin in the coffin. Wow. No, that's really up there. Sorry. Okay, so you can see that you can visually find what you're looking for rather quickly. And the images aren't so small that you're going to have to get a magnifying glass to figure it all out. But you can see it does make a rather large spread. And you need still table room. This is not a miniature deck, although they call it a pocket oracle. It fits there. So I hope you've enjoyed that and have the courage, get that in focus, to jump into some full spreads and get some scenarios going. And if you've ever laid out the cards like this for a month and let it sit and then come back to it to give it sort of a test, let me know how it worked for you. I'm going to enjoy flipping these over today, the enchantment cards, and I'll look forward to this probably for some little 9-card readings, just to get me acquainted with the deck. So everyone, I hope if you love Lenormand as much as I do, that you can appreciate the simplicity of this deck.